Hey guys, how's it going? Invisible Jiu-Jitsu here, David Monsegal. Just gonna have a little chat to you today about a question I get asked fairly often, and that's what rules do we roll to in my gym? Each instructor, has their own way of doing things and reason for doing things, and it's all very well and good, A lot of people will restrict what white belts can do for safety, maybe even restrict what colored belts can do. Some people bring in from purple belt everything. Okay, now what I do at my academy is a little different, and there's 2 rule sets in my academy, and there are exemptions. Okay, but the exemptions come from me, and they're very specific people that I give the exemptions to. Okay, so I'll explain a little bit about that in a second. So 2 things are going to happen, 2 rule sets, one in the gi, one in no gi class. Okay, I teach like a luta livre class, but it's luta livre, it's no gi. My background is in combat sports, is in jiu-jitsu and everything, so it's not just a no gi jiu-jitsu class. Let's talk about the gi first. In general, it's IBJJF rules in the academy, in training. Okay, most of the guys doing competitions are going to do competitions in IBJJF rules, and not so much gi weird rules. Okay, NAGA being exception when it comes once a year around to the UK. So in general, we roll to IBJJF rules in the gi, but here's where we do it a little differently. I partner up every roll that goes on in my academy outside of open mat. All right, so if it's in a class and we roll, I put you with someone else. Okay, so I give you the most challenging rolls that I think you need, and I give you the safest rolls to protect you a little bit. Okay, so how does the IBJJF work when we've got different color belts? Very simple. What we do is we always roll to the highest belt rules in the partnership. Okay, so if I have a white belt rolling with a blue belt, they both use blue belt rules. If I have a white belt roll with a brown belt or a black belt, it's brown or black belt rules for both. So that white belt, they can attack toe holds, and they can attack knee bar and bicep slice. Okay, no one can do neck cranks, no one can do heel hooks, because it's IBJJF rules. Okay, but what this does is prepares the white belt for later. Okay, because blue belt they can wrist lock, purple belt they can the same as blue, brown, then we get all the fun stuff, we get all the leg locks. But I've seen people train for a long time and arrive at brown belt and not have a clue what they're doing with leg locks, and it's a massive disadvantage to get to that point and have never done any of that. So what we do is we introduce it right from the beginning. If a white belt is rolling with me, they get to experience toe holds, they get to experience being toe holded, they get to experience being knee barred right from the beginning, and they're learning. Okay, and we teach all this stuff as well. White belts get taught the locks that come up upper belts before they can use them. So there's familiarity. Okay, familiarity breeds safety. Okay, because if I'm not familiar with something, I don't know what it is, that's when you think or don't think that you're in danger, and you let it ride way too long, and that's where we get hurt. Okay, now not only that, but when I toe hold a white belt, or if I knee bar a white belt, I know pretty much when it's going to break because I'm experienced. Okay, that blue belt who's wrist locking a white belt, he's experienced enough to know we don't try and break that wrist lock on really fast. So they're getting exposed, the beginners, to these locks. Higher belts are getting the opportunity to try these locks and work on things with the less experienced guys, where they can make things work, but it's in a safe way, because the more experienced guy isn't going to hurt the less experienced guy, and if the lesser experienced guy tries to attack the higher belt, well, the higher belt should know enough to tap or to defend it, but it's going to be safe. It's in a safe way, okay? You know, if someone white belt comes at me with a knee bar, provided they haven't got, 20 years of Sambo behind them, I'm probably going to be able to defend that knee bar, or at least take it in a safe way. So it's safe for both people, right? Safe for the person applying the lock, whether he is experienced or not, and safe for the person on the receiving end of it. So that's what we do in our gi classes. We roll to highest belt rules. Now, the good thing about that is no one gets to the end of the line belt-wise and hasn't seen something many, many times before, okay? We see that in a lot of academies. They ban stuff until the belt where it's allowed. And then all of a sudden you have to hit the ground running, okay? No one wants to have to hit the ground running at highest levels of competition, and you've never seen something before, And one of the guys I used to train with, that happened. He got to brown belt, he'd never done a footlock. Took him a long time to catch up and get back to a level where he could then be competitive again. So that's gi rules. No gi rules, completely different. As I said, I teach like a luta livre class, but it's everything. It's just grappling. It's just no gi grappling, all right? And this is how I run the rules in my no gi class. Everything is allowed except heel hooks for everyone. So everyone can do everything except heel hooks. Heel hooks are by my permission. So if I have two guys that have been training a little while, I set them together. Remember, I set all the rolls. Okay, if I have two guys that I set rolling and I know that they can be trusted, that they have worked heel hooks, okay, they're not spazzy, they're not going to twist out the wrong way, they're not going to do something funky, then I say, right, okay, you two guys, you can now roll with heel hooks as well. And they can take it or leave it. They can agree with themselves to not do them or do them, whatever. But if they want to do them, they have to come through me. I okay it, because at the end of the day, safety in the academy is ultimately my responsibility. Okay, no one else is going to get sued. It's going to be me. Okay, so for me, that's the way I do it. I allow them everything except heel hooks. But if they come to me and say, hey, David, we want to do heel hooks, I'll either say yes or no. And I'll make a judgment based on their merits at the time. Do I think they can train safely with them? Okay? And again, in these no-gi classes, I'm teaching beginners heel hooks, and I'm teaching them defenses, and I'm teaching them the correct way to act and to recognize what they're caught in. Okay? Because the last thing that anyone wants is to get caught in a heel hook, not recognize that this is a heel hook, and start spinning and flailing and trying to move and turn out of things. Because this is where I see the majority of injuries for beginners with heel hooks. It's not necessarily that they get caught in it and the guy cranks it on. Most people in training are not cranking on heel hooks because they're good guys. Okay, most people, unless the guy said something, about their mother before training. Most guys, they're putting it on, slowly. Okay, this is the other thing as well. I come from training luta livre in Rio. First started training a Brazilian top team. I'm now a member of Rio Fighters with Milton Vieira. And anywhere I've gone in Rio, when I say we train no-gi and we train heel hooks and we train everything, they put it on. They're not, none of this catch, I've got the position, catch and release. No. I get a heel hook, I put it on, and you tap. Or, consequences are there. If the guy doesn't let go, you're potentially going to get a broken leg. So there's none of this catch and release. So very important that if we're applying heel hooks and we're learning to apply them properly, that we're also training correct training behavior. Okay, we're training the guy not to apply them to snap the guy's leg. Hopefully he's going to let it go. All right, and we're also training the guy who's receiving the heel hook not to be an idiot and not to do strange, weird twisting stuff, and not to let his ankle break, and not to go crazy and twist the wrong way out of a heel hook. So the onus is on both people to protect themselves. Okay, the guy applying the lock and the guy receiving the lock has to take responsibility for training safety. So in the no-gi classes, I'm allowing everything except heel hooks for everybody. And then if they want to do heel hooks, they can come to me and say, hey, I want to do heel hooks. What do you think? Okay, and I'll say yes or no. All right. Usually after a couple years training, couple years they've been introduced to heel hooks, hopefully, by this point, and they're probably going to be safe and at a level where they can apply them. Okay. Fear of these leg locks is a massive part of why they are dangerous. People fear them, they don't train them, and they kind of almost over-respect them, all right? And then put them to the side because they think, no, it's too dangerous. They're not dangerous, but we have to make precautions, okay? I'm not going to lie to you and say that I think a heel hook is as safe as something else. Some people think that. Personally, I think a heel hook is a dangerous submission, and it needs respect. Okay, it needs to be trained properly. It needs to have both people on the same page, okay, when it comes to heel hooks. So that's what we do in my academy. GI, IBJJF rules, highest belt rules. Okay, we get that introduction in a safe way. We don't end up hurting either the inexperienced person, and the experienced person can protect himself. And then in the no-gi, I allow everything: cranks, hip locks, bicep slices, everything. It's all there, okay? Except those heel hooks for ranked beginners. And then after a time, once the demonstration has been shown that they can handle it, okay, then we can start introducing it if they want to roll with it, okay? Because we don't put these things to the side just because of potential risk. We try and mitigate the risk as much as we can. So, what do you do in your academy? Do you do something different? Why? Okay, come tell me, all right? I'm not saying my way is the best way, it's just what I do in my academy. Hopefully you like the video. Please like the video, share with your friends, and we'll see you again.